Valorant, a game made by Riot Games, has garnered a lot of hate in the Counter-Strike community. This is a community that I am a part of, and I won't lie, I've joined in on the hate. I'm hating on this game I have only played when it was in closed beta back in 2020. I've set out to see if this hate is warranted or not. This is my review of Valorant from a CS player's perspective. More background on myself. I've been playing CSGO and Counter-Strike 2 for about 6 years with 800 hours wasted playing it. I also have placed really well in the ranked systems. I have reached Faceit level 6, Premier 15k in the new CS2 ranking, and Master Guardian 2 in the older ranking system. I would like to believe that I know what I'm talking about, but there's a few things I wanted a second opinion on. I talked with and almost debated with someone who is better than me at these games to see a even higher ranked person's point of view. He has over 2,500 hours spent between all accounts on Counter-Strike and has placed Faceit 7, Premier 17, and Master Guardian Elite. He has also played in CSGO and CS2 tournaments. We'll call him Green. We both have put time into Val. I have reached Silver 2 and I partake in my college's esports league. Green has placed Gold 2 with more hours than me. Now my experience has been laid out. What is my criteria? I chose 7 main things for me: the core mechanics, the agents, the maps, the economy, community, anti-cheat, and esports. The core mechanics in Valorant are laid out in 3 tiers: how matches are played, the movement, and the combat. I'll only be talking about these in ranked modes, with CS being Premier and Valorant being competitive. These matches are very similar to CS, with a few noticeable differences. The most noticeable one is that there's no ban phase where you can choose to ban a map from the map pool. Both have a overtime mode, but Val only has 1 round while CS has 6, making it so that matches in Valorant can never come to a tie. Lastly, there is friendly fire in Val like in CS, but only on abilities and not on weapons. I personally don't like that Val matches always have a winner. Sometimes you and your opponents will have a back and forth slugging match that ultimately should end up in a tie. I also don't like how you can't ban maps to play. The next core mechanic is movement. Movement is not as crucial in Valorant. There's also less movement in general. Valorant has the same basic movement as CS, though the B-hopping in CS, which is a movement tech that allows you to move faster than normal but extremely hard to do. Valorant also has this tech, but doesn't give you the same speed boost that it does in CS and is rarely used even though it is easier to complete in Valorant. Another movement difference is inertia. In Val, when you stop pressing your movement key, you almost instantly come to a stop. C has inertia, so whenever you let go, your momentum keeps you moving for a small amount of time after you let go of the key. CS has a thing called counter-strafing to battle against this, and this is not needed in Val as you come to a complete stop. This makes the game easier for new players, but doesn't give it as steep as a learning curve that CS has. Last thing I wanted to say is that both me and Green noticed that it just feels slow. Val feels like there's more friction while walking, like the character wants to stay close to the ground. The last core mechanic to me is combat. Shooting is almost the same. The only difference is that there's no dedicated recoil, making it more of a one-tap shooter as sprays are harder and sometimes almost impossible. All weapons have an alternative mode, where some might just give you a scope to aim down, while others completely change how a weapon fires. CS also has these type of fire modes, but it's only on weapons that have scopes and weapons that have suppressors. In all, I give matches an 8 out of 10, movement a 7, and combat a 9, making my total score for core mechanics an 8 out of 10. Agents in Valorant are what separate Valorant from CS, and I'm going to spoil it and say that it's the thing I hate the most about Val. Some of the abilities have almost not a realistic counter to them. Some of the blind abilities will still blind you if you look away. Stun abilities defy physics and make your gun shoot slower and decrease your accuracy. Vulnerability debuff makes you take more damage, the list goes on. I hate how a single agent and their abilities can win you games. One ultimate, for example, can cover the map in a specific area with a green haze that makes it so you can't see, but the character that uses it, Viper, can see twice or even 3 times better than you can. This makes it used in plant situations and almost gives the Viper user and their team a guaranteed win. The agent I play the most, ISO, has a shield that will stop 1 tick of damage no matter how much damage it is. This can also be compounded with its very easily acquired ult that forces you into an enemy 1v1, giving you an even greater advantage. Many agents have things like these that will just straight up win you games and thus makes it not a battle of skill, but a battle of meta agents. These agent abilities also remove utility like in CS, making half of the agents less adaptable to your opponents. There have been team compositions that I've played with or against that were stomped for that reason. Simple smokes or flash grenades available to everyone makes it possible for someone with lineups and basic game knowledge to help his team significantly. I know that this is this way to promote teamwork, but to me it just leads to the same agents being picked that can perform on their own. I am definitely not a fan at all. 2 out of 10. The maps in Valorant are just there. The maps don't have enough character to me and are all around just forgettable. Maps use bland colors with little detail and majority of them are based off the same layouts as other maps. I only remember one map called Icebox because it's the map that's hated the most by the group of people I play, and that's the only thing I remember about it. They all feel the same, with just a different set of paint. Usually there is one site that every round the attackers attack because it's significantly easier to assault, while the other site gets maybe 3 rounds tops because to switch up their attacking strategies. A few are fun, but that's only to them feeling more like CS maps to me. Sunset is, to me, literally Mirage in CSGO, but with a few separate tweaks. Maps are meh. They're 5 out of 10. The economy feels less unforgiving. The money cap is 9k, with abilities transferring between rounds if they aren't used, even if you die. Making a character like ISO, whose main ability you gain automatically at the beginning of each round, have arguably more flexibility with money. I buy my abilities and almost never have to use them as the ones you pay for are almost worthless. This gives you so much more leeway in eco rounds to buy better weapons and better armor, making you more of a menace to the other team. The 2 main weapons are the same price, the Phantom and the Vandal, and really shouldn't be. The Vandal is significantly better in my opinion and can one-tap at any range. The only thing the Phantom got going for it is its increased rate of fire and its suppressor. It's the equivalent of the M4A1S and the AK in CS, where you always drop the M4 for the AK. The Phantom should be dropped 100 points to increase its use like they did in CS. Shields are just a flat 66% damage taker, with there being 3 and the only difference between 2 of them is one has 25 shield and the other has 50. My favorite one is the regen shield, which has 100% damage take with 25 shield that can regen out of combat. CS armor has a damage reduction only to the parts it covers, unlike Valorant where it's any body part has the shield. The Kevlar vest in CS only gives that reduction to the chest, arm, stomach, back. And then you can also upgrade for a cheaper cost afterwards to get the helmet, which adds complete head protection. In total, the economy is very close to CS, and I give it an 8.5 out of 10. The community is make or break for a vast majority of people. Valorant has probably one of the more accepting communities in gaming. In my games, With saying that I was coming from CS, they were very understanding and accepting of me. In Counter-Strike, that wouldn't be the same, because majority of the time when people come for Valorant, I've seen them get hate. In Valorant, there's significantly less hate being thrown around, but it could be attributed to a working report system that can sadly also be abused with how sensitive it can be. Thing I hate the most though is players fold almost instantly when games are tough. I can't count how many matches I've played where one team forfeited while being down by less than 5 rounds. One that sticks out to me the most was a game where I played where it was 3-7 them, and I was getting hate for wanting to continue playing the match. We did come back and win 13-12 in overtime, but I was still getting hate after the match for wanting to continue playing the match. No one has a spine in this game when they start losing, and it frankly pisses me off. Other than the constant forfeits that plague this community, I like the community. 9 out of 10. Cheating is an epidemic in gaming right now, and I'm proud to say that I only had one incident where I came across a blatant hacker, and only a handful of other incidents where I had a suspicious player that I kind of thought was cheating, but I didn't have enough evidence to back it up. That comes at a pretty bad con though, the deep kernel level anti-cheat that you have to download. You basically have to give up your PC at the whim of this anti-cheat. It's so deep kernel that you have to turn on 2 security settings in your BIOS to even run the game. This makes it very hard for people that don't know a lot about computers to be able to play your game. A lot of people just want to download a game off Steam or the game's website and play without having to worry about going into their computer, deep computer settings, and turning on these settings. On top of it, if you turn the anti-cheat off, you have to completely restart your computer to re-enable the anti-cheat to even play the game again. Coming from a computer background, I hate the fact that it has such a deep kernel level anti-cheat. Yes, cheating is almost non-existent in the game, but such a deep level anti-cheat makes it so that certain programs that I used to use, I can't even launch without my computer or Vanguard flagging it as a malicious software. As an anti-cheat though, it works, and I can't dock it for that. I have to give it, with all these doubts and negative things that I feel about it, a 10 because there's almost no cheaters. Lastly is the esports, which a lot of people don't care about, but I do. Counter-Strike is one of the best implementations of esports ever in gaming in my opinion. Valorant just isn't anywhere near it. The professional esports and the community driven love behind it is just not there. It felt dead. Each team has a skin for the default weapon called the Classic, but other than that, there is no real involvement for the actual players of the game. CS has a major ticket that you can buy in-game that allows you to watch matches from your home. On top of it, you can play pick'em games where the better you do at selecting which teams are going to win and lose, the better coin you get from the major that you can display on your profile. There is also souvenir skins that can be opened to memorialize each game in the major. If a player does extremely well or breaks some CS records, you can open a package of the game and hope to get a weapon that has their stickers and memorializes him. There's also stickers in the game that you can put on weapons to memorialize the teams, the players themselves, and a special set if you are the champions of the majors. Coming from all that variety of esports inclusion in just the normal game for people that aren't anywhere near that level, Val has no excitement or reason to want or care about their esports. Have to give it a 2 out of 10. My 7 scores average out to roughly a 6.4 out of 10. It's a better than average game, but isn't remarkable at all from my experiences. Has some high highs and some really low lows, and I understand that I'm subjective with my experiences, and I don't want to hate on anyone or the game itself. It's just meh to me in every aspect coming from CS. It's just a CS but worse in my opinion. What mainly makes it just not a good game to me is the agent system that I hate. I hate agent and character based games because there's always going to be a meta character. The maps are also just not fun or memorable, and the esports has just no love behind it. It's worth giving the game a try. It's a better than average game, and it's especially whenever it's free to play. But it comes at the downside of the kernel level anti-cheat that you have to go into your BIOS. And if you can't get into your BIOS, then you can't play the game. And if you don't know how to do that, then you also can't play the game. To me, it's just a meh love child between Counter-Strike and Overwatch that if you play Counter-Strike or if you play Overwatch, yeah, they're completely separate games. You don't have to really play Valorant. Thank you.